It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free education classes near you at freedigital.org.
Parker's the key to all this because he's a funnier character than we've had. If we can get him working. Yeah, well, I mean, I think the thing with Frammer, when he's on, I love watching him pitch. He's one of my favorite pitchers to watch because he goes deep into games. My favorite, the thing with Frammer, though, is that he has such a high ground ball rate. And sometimes that will yield very good luck, and sometimes that will result in very bad luck. Now, the pitch, he hung one to Seager. That wasn't bad luck or anything. Gator stuff is so good he commands it. He's a dog if he commands it. Yeah, I know. He's looked excellent so far tonight. His stuff really moves. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what I've talked about with like the Canna and Chafin trades where I'm not going to view them as failures or overwhelming successes, but like I have confidence that we can cobble together a bullpen or a starting staff over the next several years. If Madras stays good, where does Torque play when he comes back? I mean, you can DH Madras, you can DH Torque. There'll be a spot for him, and you don't have to play him every day either. Bill Bly, the science guy. This was a guy, 2-2, popped him up, who was a huge prospect. Victor Robles with the Nationals. Hey, well, you know what? Thank you, Brock Heward. Yeah, he was top 5 prospect at one point in baseball. Had a very good rookie season when the Nats won the World Series. He had a 4 WAR that year in his rookie campaign. Just never really developed after that. Was DFA'd this year by the Nationals. I don't mind a team picking up a guy like that on waivers or in free agency just to take a flyer out on it. To me, it's like the 5-star recruit who doesn't win the starting job in transfers. Yeah, they might be damaged goods a little bit, but you got to think that there's something in there that you can develop. Easy. Yeah, he seems amped up tonight, you can tell. Easy. He's been amped up now. He got those early strikeouts. Now I think he's overthrowing the ball a bit. If he walks him, it might not be a bad idea. Do a mound visit. Just calm him down a little bit. Yeah, it's outside. Maybe take a step out there.
Bigger Tuesdays are back on FanDuel. Just bet on any player to get a home run and get bonus bets for each homer during that game.
Johnny Kane, Dan Petrie.
Shit, sorry. Some of my lips.
Talk radio, Shop John King. Foul ball from Colorado. You just right one. You baseball guys know it, dude. I love sitting and talking to you guys, breaking bread last night. Scott Service said, I was listening to his pregame right beforehand. He said, here's the deal. This picture today, it's great. That great stuff. It's 96.
I like watching games with other people. Yeah, I mean, I like going to the park. I have weird moods, man. So it really depends. That's foul. Okay. Tigers have completely underperformed. No, partially underperformed. Yes, they will finish with a worse record than I expected. Probably by the end of the season, a much worse record than I expected.
Washington State fairgrounds because it was so badass.
Block it.
Or you can say
Good job by Dingler recovering there.
when I was born, so was this organization. Yeah, really. Yeah, you guys only there. And my two brothers in the middle, and my older brother Damon, football guy, my dad.
Long shot World Series pick. I said last night that the Arizona Diamondbacks I could see getting hot again. It's largely the same team that was successful made it to the World Series a year ago. Great pitch, changeup. Yeah. Oh, that looks great. Yeah. No, Hinch is here to stay. Hinch just got an extension. I can't imagine a future, even if they fall apart next year, in which he's not the manager here. He's missing this inning. He's got really good life on all his pitches. Yeah, tomorrow we got George Kirby versus Scooble. That should be a really fun game. In there. Have you considered throwing out some daily baseball gambling picks? I would if I definitely would if I was still worked for a gambling company or a company that did a lot of gambling stuff. I'm not opposed to it. Have you had any nightmares of being in the offices at Chicago? No. I'm not even necessarily going to call them nightmares. They're just more dreams or visions. I guess they're, by definition, they're dreams. This is so like on brand. I have a lot of like dreams that involve people that I used to work with. And they aren't like violent or anything like that, but they're just, I don't know. They're just like anxiety inducing. Like I wake up like with a heavy heartbeat. What was my reaction to Robert Downey Jr. returning as Dr. Doom? My initial reaction was confusion. After I kind of settled down, I think there's a chance that it works. And I think regardless of how it fits into the universe or how awkward it might be, Robert Downey Jr. is probably going to be the best. Make play, Hobby. Good throw. Is probably going to be the best part of the movie just because he's such a good actor. My whole thing is it reeks of desperation because let's say the MCU never fell off. Let's say the MCU was really good after Endgame. I think I put it at a very, very small % chance that Robert Downey Jr. would be back. I think the sole reason for him returning is they know that he was responsible for their heyday. And so they've found a way without bringing back Tony Stark to bring back a very recognizable actor that people love. I'm more concerned with the overall picture than I am with him returning or coming in as the villain, because to me, when I think back to all of the Avengers movies that have come out, and by 26, it'll have been 7 years since we've seen one. But when we think back to the Avengers movie, that it really felt like they had built up to something. The first, in phase 1, we got 2 Iron Man movies. We got a Hulk movie. We got a movie. We got Thor movie. And then you got to see all those characters come together in the Avengers. It doesn't feel like they've really built up to anything. It doesn't feel like they've built up to Loki or built up to Thanos the way that they have in previous iterations. So it feels a little bit worthless. Yeah, I should. I keep saying that I'm going to. I don't know how much I would charge for Cameo, though. I could see people really freaking out about that. Thoughts on practice fights? They are what they are. Look, these guys are so hungry to go out there and hit somebody. As long as nobody's getting injured, it's what it is, Adrenaline's pumping. Everyone's out there just full of fucking cum. Yeah, still 1-0. Boy, McKinstry. Remember that ground ball that McKinstry scooped? That thing almost hit him in the face. Talk about a brutal hop. Always really liked Luis Castillo, man. Luis Castillo is one of those guys that, like, he's been really good for a long time, but I thought at some point would have that pop-off Cy Young season. Like what Robbie Ray had or what Blake Snell's had a few times, where everything just kind of goes right. And he's been great. He's in the 2 postseason starts that he had for Seattle, he was fantastic. But he, like, maybe he's just never quite jumped to that upper tier. But in terms of stuff, this is just one now because a lot of the other games are over. They'll all check in on Dodgers Phillies in a second. Harvey, go 3. Get down. Attaboy. Who's up now? Is it top of the order? Yeah, Matty V. Matty V 3-run shot. He's going to float a changeup. He's going to crush it to left field. Fastball outside now. Outside. I do, with the help of some smart people in my life. No, I did not lose a ton of money yesterday, or any money. Ooh, slider. Eesh. Outside. Oh, that's outside. I guess I haven't thought about it. I wouldn't be against it. I didn't realize he was this close, but I don't know. We'll see. I could see that being a September call-up. I didn't see Robbie Hyde's video. I hope that Robbie Hyde is correct. I strongly disagree with Robbie Hyde, though I obviously would prefer not to. I was just sobriety journey. Still clean. It's still, and I want to get back to talk about baseball. I guess just what's so frustrating to me is just how, when it comes to interpersonal relationships, just how irritable I am all the time. Like, my rhythm just, I'm not saying I've gotten more autistic, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I maintained better. Like, I had much better vibes as a person when I drank. Get through. Attaboy, Colts. If we sign Bregman and Alonso, I'll make an OnlyFans.
Towards the ball, just thinks he's going to just be able to just reach and grab it, goes right by him. Castillo did a little grin on his face, but he did everything right. He got the strikeout.
Yeah, man. I mean, it really sucks because, like, alcohol, when you have the kind of brain where you can control your intake, is fucking awesome. I would say if I was ranking the best days of my life, I would say 8 of the top 10 probably involved me consuming alcohol in some capacity. The problem is my inability to stop. Ooh. Jack McCrinch is Deadpool, baseball players won't die. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be other superheroes that won't. He's Kenny from South Park. Actually, that's not true. Kenny dies all the time. He just comes back. Pretty good at bats tonight. Yeah, I mean, of course. In my experience, bad things happen when I do that. Either I am just way too socially awkward, or I make or I get too attached, or just like I don't want to cause inconvenience for other people, Yeah, he had, and I don't recall. That's another good piece of hitting, man. I don't recall. Get to 3. Good work, Colt. I don't recall him having like many serious injuries. I could be wrong about that, but like he did have a very promising start to his career, and then just didn't really do anything after that. I mean, my criteria for that stuff is much different than a lot of other people's. My criteria is if you look at that wall of names and you don't see a guy's name on there and it feels weird, then they probably deserve to have their number or name retired. Like, you can't do it yet, obviously. They're going to wait till he's eligible for the Hall of Fame, but like, it's weird that there isn't more of a Cabrera presence, his number will get retired. When I looked around Comerica Park over the last several years and saw that kind of wall of names and numbers, did I say to myself, good God, they're missing Leland? No. But at the same time, I think that it's a very strong argument as to why get down. Shit. As to why he could have his number retired in a weird way. I mean, the only time we've ever been successful since 1987 was when he was the manager. And this is true, and I know a lot of people have very mixed, split opinions on him. Never met K. Marco, never emailed or interacted with K. Marco. I don't even think he was no longer the editor of the blog by the time I got that job. So I have zero opinion of the man as somebody who has never had any interaction with him.
jaw off a lucrative inning for the Tigers. But, yeah, that's it. Sorry. Well, I felt like I was just way over the top last night. It felt like I just really had to get brought down and like, I got to tell me your story off the air. Bye, Brock. See ya. Good time.
Over the last 50 years, Michigan.
My reviews online, I enjoyed it, liked it, didn't love it, but it's an extremely watchable movie. It's pretty much exactly what I expected it to be, which is a funny movie featuring two really funny guys who are great at playing those characters. Nothing more, nothing less. No, I didn't notice that. I mean, Leland was his manager, for 2 years here? I mean, obviously, Dontrell missed a lot of time with injury. That's interesting, though. I didn't pay close enough attention to that. No, he wasn't his manager in Florida. Jack McKeon was his manager, and then I think it was Girardi, actually. Was it Girardi? No, I think he might have had a bridge guy, and then it was Girardi. I would still say Riley Green, but I don't think you're that far off, Alan. Like, Parker Meadows is one of those guys that I could easily see, like, having a very sneaky, like, 5-WAR season at some point. But he's got to be more consistent with the fucking bat, man. He's turned into a star. I think the Red Sox this year, they've taken a significant step forward. They were one team coming into the year that I was confident was going to be quite bad. And they've had a lot of guys really blossom, and I think he's probably the greatest example of it. That I was really excited about. Ooh. I mean, I guess at the time I was looking forward to Jordan Zimmerman. If I knew ball then the way I know ball now, I think it would probably be a bit different. I wouldn't be against that. I've always been a big Walker Buehler guy, and I know that, power arm, coming off of Tommy John, he's had multiple injuries, but man, when Walker Buehler was right in the early part of his career, legit ace. I mean, plus stuff, number one, like game one starter in a playoff series. I wouldn't be against that. Good signings. They spent money. Bobby Witt turned into a superstar. And I think I've talked about this, but I always use this word, but I just think that Kansas City, even in their down years, they know what kind of team they want to be, and they assemble a roster based around that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But they're typically pretty great pitch. Let's go. They're typically pretty athletic. They run the bases well. They have guys that can hit for power. And I just think that really the ascension of Bobby Witt just kind of turned everything around for them. He's just been incredible. Oh, home run. Oh, shit. Yeah, well, I think TikTok will be a good lane for that. I want to. I mean, I honestly, and I don't know what, dude. I don't know how many times I need to say this, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say it. But like, what appeals to me, and what appeals to other people is not always one and the same. Like I thought the White Sox video that I did today, I liked that a lot. You know, it's timely with them struggling the way that they have. It was one take, off the cuff, straight shot, well thought out, knowledgeable. I think that there's a lot of, you know, to really like in something like that. You know, I'd love to have an outlet like that. I think, and I don't want to rehash this again tonight, but I really think one of the big issues I got myself into at my last job was that, especially in the last year or so, I kept trying to fit myself into places that didn't match my skill set or my personality. I did blog more, and I'm not against, you know, blogging, obviously, and I think I did ultimately become a pretty prolific all-right writer. But you know, I think my strength is talking to the camera. Yeah, I think, and it's, I'm not gonna say it's frustrating because, you know, you kind of earn it on your own. When I talk about arrogance, or like the level of arrogance that I have, it's a very bizarre thing. I have like this real territorialness to it, because if you know me at all, you know that I'm not confident in any area of life. And more often than not, if you've seen me around other people or just seen me even on these live streams, like, I have a level of contempt for myself that's very dangerous. Like, I don't like myself at all. I talk very poorly of myself. The one area where I'm like way, probably overconfident, arrogant to a point where it bothers people is just talking baseball. Like, that's the one thing. That's the one thing where it's like, I know I'm good at this. So I protect that probably more than I should. Great pitch. Yeah, it was another one of those instances where somebody agreed to something and then they just never got back to me. And that was during the All-Star break too. And I don't want to say who it is, but it was somebody who, I'm not even going to go any further. I don't want speculation, because there's somebody I like a lot, and shit falls through. It happens. Why don't you just keep recording Chris Company solo and then have guests on sometimes? I mean, I don't really know what I would talk about. I mean, we kind of go against the title of the show. The title of the show is Chris and Company. It's meant to be me with other people. I just feel like those like editorial based things are just better suited on TikTok and Twitter. I wanted to do an interview show. And again, it's not finished. Come on, finish him off here. Man, oh man. A lot of swing and miss tonight. Yeah, right. It'd pretty much just be all Santos again. Or partner, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that is. And I don't know if this is a social skills issue. I have no fucking clue. But that is a thing that I would like to develop better just as a personality, is that I think on my own, I'm capable of being very articulate, very well spoken, of getting my points across. I'm also, at least in my opinion, noticeably better on my own than I am when I'm doing content with other people. Like, I would always get really frustrated because I felt like I never sounded as good on Barstool Baseball as I would sound like when I just do videos in the basement about baseball. I don't know if that's an anxiety thing, if that's a social thing or what, but like, yeah, it would be, and this isn't even me being like, oh, I have high standards. It's just, I'm yet to really come across people in my line of work that really like match my wavelength. And that's not me saying that I exist on a greater plane at all. That's me saying that, like, you know, just a little bit different, like in that way. Like, I don't vibe with most people. Kind of feel good about this one. I mean, you know, that's the ultimate, you know, knock on wood. It's probably cause of death, but Montero looks great, and this is very inspiring. I don't know if I agree with that. I just, and I know everyone's going to roll their eyes at this because I've complained about this a million times, but I'm telling you, having been able to do both, a remote podcast with 4 people is so much more difficult to get. It's so much more difficult to find chemistry remotely than it is doing podcasts with 3 other people in person. And that was nobody's fault. Carl was in Chicago. I was in Michigan. Clemmer and Hubs are in New York. It wouldn't have been feasible anyway. But it was one of those things that kind of needed to hit right away. And it didn't. And I'll take, you know, a huge responsibility for that. That was at a time when, you know, I was blogging a good pitch when I was blogging a lot, but I just wasn't right. And there's really no excuse for that, you know, especially working at a place that's, you know, you're as fortunate to work at as Barstool. But you know, serious, I was talking to a friend. I looked this up the other day because one thing about me, at least as it pertains to my special interests, is that I have a pretty unique memory. Like, you know, I'm able to remember a lot of dates and statistics and like things that happened in my life. And yet, there's certain periods of my life relatively recently that I don't remember. And I tried to look it up to see, like, is that a symptom of like severe depression where you lose memory over things? And like, apparently it is, because I remember for the most part every baseball game that I've ever been to. I remember, if not the score, at the very least remember like what happened, who played, what the weather was like. And I went to a game in Wrigley last year between the Cubs and the Cardinals, 2 games. And I had to go on Best Baseball Reference to look it up. I had zero recollection of either one. Weird. Do I find myself off-putting? What do you mean by that? Because I guess the one defense I would have is that all the things that people view as weaknesses now are things that people viewed as strengths 2 years ago. You know, I just think that's kind of the way of things on the internet. Now, of course, I haven't done myself any favors, but I think that I would argue for a time being, or for a time, my strength was that it was off-putting. Well, Castillo's going to get through 6, but 6 innings, 3 earned against him. That's pretty damn good. Hey, attaboy, Dingler. Go 2. They might chase him before he finishes the 6. God damn, that really got to left field. Not fast enough to go 3, but that's a legit double. No, I don't think it's a spin zone. I think that that's a relatively fair assessment. To answer the question truthfully, yes, I think I probably am off-putting. I don't want to be. I don't mean to be. I don't try to be. Now I try genuinely. I try to be nice. Like doesn't always work. Run it out. That could be a tough play. Did he get there? Yeah, he got there. Oh. Quick move in game here. What time does this thing start? 9:40. He's had a weird zone. Does seem like it's favored Mariners because it seems like Castillo's thrown a lot of arm side fastballs to righties that have been off the plate, and they've been called strikes. And then the one that I threw to Madris, yeah, that was fastball. That was glove side. Oh wait, shit. That was arm side. I'm sorry. That was arm side. Away to a lefty, and it should have been strike 3. No, but we're going to get to a point where the challenge system is very, very important and will be a thing. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I'd love to be a part of radio or podcasting in some capacity. Yeah. Right, but that would be funny though. Like I do think that will make the game like more engaging than people think. Yes and no. I get what you're saying, but I mean, Peach just feels right. Yeah, I think that's down. I think Petrie will transition into that main color commentator role. Now, I think Dirks would be great, but I don't think that Dan Dickerson wants Dirks leaving radio, which I get. Come on, don't fall apart this inning. Turn 2. Ooh, peaches. You're probably right. Yeah, but again, I think that could be fun. It's in there. Ah, come on, just missed. Yeah, absolutely. It's a fucking amazing movie. I love Rises. I found myself, I did not think this would be the case 12 years after its release, but I have become like the ultimate defender. Do we think anyone's touched? Well, I mean, Judge has a shot. I think that's one thing that goes a little bit overlooked about Judge is like he's a ridiculously good contact hitter as well. Like he's easily a 300 hitter every year. If not for that slump that he had kind of down the stretch in 22, I think he would have won the Triple Crown then. Oh, he hit him. Oy vey. You'd all be dead if it wasn't for my David. I hope you watch Batman Begins too, because I think that trilogy is amazing. It's like that really was, and I mean, I have a huge attachment to the original Star Wars as well, but like that series was like my Star Wars, where I got so into movie making, and I think it's aged very well. Where I've talked about it a million times, but honestly, I love those movies so much, I'd fucking suck their dick. I think they've aged very well, where we now live in this universe where everything's connected, and there's a real cool factor to that. I mean, I love those Avengers movies, and I hope that James Gunn gets things right with the DCEU and everything. But I do think it's unique that we have this like kind of perfect trilogy directed by a director who you wouldn't normally expect would direct a series like that. Turn 2. Exactly what they needed. Fuck yeah. Like Christopher Nolan is a now an Academy Award winning director. Like if there was a Hall of Fame for directors, I think he's officially with Oppenheimer put himself in that first ballot, one of the greats. And he saw a vision of Batman that no one else, had really dared to try at that point. And I also think those movies are so good that all Batman movies that came before it, I just think are like a little bit lame. I'm not even that huge a fan of the Burton movies, and I know that people like that's a sacrilege to a lot of people. I think they're marvelous movies to look at, and I think the art design and everything is incredible. Tim Burton's movies always look amazing, but I don't really think it's a very good version of Batman. In there. Oh boy. Great work. Great job pitching out of that, man. This is a sidebar, but yeah, fuck it. You guys know that I am not a concert goer, and by that I mean as an adult, I've never been to a concert. That's really beside the point. But I saw that Chapel Roan's Lollapalooza was the biggest, like most attended Lollapalooza concert ever. I mean, I've heard some of her music. It's catchy. Hot to Go is an earworm. But how? Like, when did she get famous? Like, biggest Lollapalooza has like legit acts. Like I know maybe attendance at a fucking concert isn't the way to judge it, but like I would have figured Tate McRae would have gotten a much bigger audience than Chapel Roan. Again, though, I don't really know these things. White Sox winning tonight might be the night, man. I mean, you got to think they could win one in Oakland. Jesus. That's a legit complaint. Is that in 2005, this was when all Nolan had directed was Memento. He did that movie Following, but then he did Memento. Did he do anything in between Memento and Insomnia? I don't think he did. He was not used to directing action. So the action in Batman Begins is a little bit wonky. I'm the biggest defender of those movies, but yeah, I agree. It is pretty remarkable how cleaned up it is in The Dark Knight. Like the action in The Dark Knight is that chase sequence on the fucking through Chicago essentially is amazing. So yeah, he fixed it. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean that fucking Hozier song, fucking became didn't he premiere that on TikTok? I think I'll take my whiskey neat. I do love that song actually. My coffee black and my bed at 3. You're too sweet for me. That's the other thing about those movies, man. Is again, it goes back to them aging well. There's just not a lot of CG in those movies. Yes, Javi drew a walk. Get down, attaboy, Veerling. All right. That's like the 4th time we've done that tonight, where we've just had either a hard ground ball, he's out, or a little floater out to right field that advanced a runner from first to third. Asking the big questions. Do I think, I mean, I don't know. I'll just put it, I don't know. Because if you say no, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and you're just kind of stuck being miserable forever. If you say yes, then you could be wrong. So I don't, I don't know. I would, you never know what's going to happen. I would venture to say right now it will probably be a while. I think I got a lot of work to do on myself first, but you never know. I mean, some people get lucky. Don't want to? Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think I think that that stuff is important in a lot of ways. I mean, I would love to, be in a healthy relationship with somebody and be happy and get to know them and be there for them, and in turn I hope that they would be there for me. I mean, I think my perspective on a lot of that stuff has changed as I've gotten older. I not that they need my approval, but I think women are awesome. But at the same time, there's a lot of intangibles that you have to bring to the table in order to make yourself appealing, right? I think the problem that, and I'm the last guy to be giving fucking advice here, but I think the problem that a lot of men get themselves into is that they assume like they just have it. You don't. You gotta do a lot of work on yourself and make yourself an appealing person. Their time is valuable. So of course I would. Yeah. And especially as I've gotten older, I mean, seeing people that I went to high school and college with getting married and having kids, like, I think that's really cool. And I'm happy for them. So of course I'd like to at one point. Get through. Oh no, damn it. Ooh, did he beat that? Check that. That was close. He's out. Okay. Damn. That was a missed opportunity there. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. Am I scared of women? No, I'm scared of making a situation unintentionally uncomfortable. The stuff looks better. I mean, that ball was moving. It's sad, obviously, that he passed away, but what are the odds of there being two men in baseball named Billy Beane that had like a pretty legitimate impact on the game? Yeah, he was a lot better tonight. Let that run cross in the fifth, but he was a lot better tonight. Oh my God! Stop fucking hitting people, Jesus. That one looked bad too. Hit him right in the hand. I had it in my hand, sir. Well, there's no guarantee that that was about me. Okay, of my generation, so I started watching baseball in 2003. So Verlander, DeGrom, this is in no particular order. Verlander, DeGrom, Kershaw, Scherzer. And then that fifth spot is a little bit wide open. You know, Garrett Cole is up there. I don't know if he would slide into that fifth spot. I'm trying to think of who else I used to love watch pitch. Well, this is a tough one. I made a whole YouTube video about this. The most dominant pitcher I've ever seen for a time was Jake Arrieta. But that prime was so short-lived, it's hard for me to put him in the top 5 best I've ever seen. He's close. I mean, he was a fucking monster. Felix is a good one. Yeah, he was West Coast, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. And the team was bad, so I didn't watch a ton of Felix Hernandez. But yes, he was wonderful. Well, okay, I guess another kind of obvious, or not obvious necessarily, but one that stands out as somebody that I think when it mattered most was as locked in as anyone I'd ever seen is Madison Bumgarner. Again, kind of short-lived. People forget he was like 25 when he was World Series MVP. Like, he was very young and he petered out fast because he just pitched a ton of innings. Great pitch, a good change up there. Yeah, no, I would say I would say, and it's so hard to compare and contrast, you know, different ages of starting pitcher. I would say Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez. You have an argument that those, if somebody told me they think those are the 2 greatest pitchers ever. I mean, Pedro had that he was great for like a decade, but he had that 2-year stretch, or I think he was the best baseball player in the world. Like, he probably should have won an MVP. Yeah, for sure. But those, I mean, you talk about Mount easy. We'll take the 1. Okay. You talk about a Mount Rushmore. Those 4 clear right away. I mean, I think in terms of run prevention, Kershaw is the best of them. Verlander in terms of overall stuff, probably, well, fucking DeGrom. I mean, DeGrom was great for about 5 or 6 years there. There was that stretch when he was healthy and he was pumping 100 every inning. And it felt like facing a closer every single inning. And it wasn't sustainable, and he got injured. But man, he was must fucking watch, dude. You know, there's another pitcher that I really, when he again, not a Hall of Famer or anything, though he was perennial All-Star for a few years, that I really enjoyed watching just because he was very deceptive and he moved the ball really well, was Johnny Cueto. I always like watching Johnny Cueto pitch, man. Great changeup, good two-seam fastball, pitched really deep into games. Fun pitcher to watch. Is another guy, and I would not put him top 5 of my generation. I wouldn't put him top 10 of my generation. I probably wouldn't even put him top 20 of my generation. But a guy who every time I watched him, I thought was nails. And he's a tremendous big game pitcher is Nathan Eovaldi. I remember I would get into this argument with people where I genuinely think that there is a psychological difference between how guys view the postseason versus how guys view the regular season. And Eovaldi has consistently turned it on in October. And I would love to figure out, because his stuff has always been great, but I'd love to figure out exactly what it is that kind of gets him to lock in against really good lineups. Best baseball movie, Moneyball. Okay, so we got Vest in the 8th. I presume we'll probably get or Vest in the 7th. I presume we'll probably get Foley in the 9th. He's warming up. He's warming up Foley now. Well, fuck me, silly. Who we get for the 9th? At Holton, Shelby. In there. That's strike 3. Yep. Thank you. No, that was in there, Haniger. Great pitch. Man, I don't know if it's it's because of the off day or what, but pitcher's stuff tonight looks really good. Montero and then Vesty there. I'm trying to think. This would be a fun topic. A really good pitcher who always had average stuff. Who comes to mind? And now, to me, average stuff does not specifically mean slow tosser. Like Dallas Keuchel there for a time, never, had the velo up, but his stuff was really good. Burley probably comes to mind. Fisk, yeah, but Fister had good stuff. He had that big looping breaking ball, and he got a lot of contact with that two-seamer. And he was tall. He was really, really tall, and so facing that sinker, his probably looked like it was going to hit you in the head when it was coming at you. Hudson, yeah, you get to a lot of Brett Saber. Yeah, well, I'm meaning like in the modern age, because I feel like the philosophy nowadays with the stuff that pitchers feature is totally different. I guess one guy who had a pretty solid peak, inconsistent at points, but pretty solid peak, was Hyun-Jin Ryu. Just did a great, never threw hard, had a good changeup, did a good job of just commanding the ball. Mixed speeds very well. He's one that comes to mind. Yeah, Jamie Moore is probably the ultimate example. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said John Lester. John Lester had really good stuff. He had ace stuff. Brad Penny, I think Brad Penny, at least in the early part of his career, threw hard, but yeah. Okay, that's what's weird. I brought this up before with Jahan. There's a ton of swing and miss in his game, but he swings and misses in the zone. Like, if to me that I'm not saying it's easy, but that's an easier adjustment than a guy who's going to chase all the time. Man, that sweeper that Thornton has that thing is dancing. Oh, Prime for Prezo 8? Yeah. Before I discovered editing and before my voice dropped. Yeah. That was the original passion, man, was reviewing movies on YouTube. And I'm such a nostalgic ass that like my pop culture like brain is still very stuck in 2008 to 2011. Like I legitimately think that was just like the best time for movies. I'm sure it wasn't, but it was to me. And those were, I'm not going to say those are good reviews because they weren't. I was fucking 12, 13 years old, but they're fascinating because those were formative years. And in a lot of ways, like there's kind of something unique about seeing somebody grow up like that. Like, you know, The Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time. Like my review is on YouTube, you know? Brewstar Gratterall just came back from an injury, threw 8 pitches, and got injured again. That sucks. Talk about a guy with good stuff. Do I think I will ever throw out the first pitch? Be a good put the gambling odds on DraftKings. What's gonna happen first? I throw out the first pitch at a Tigers game, or I get a girlfriend. I don't. Well, the thing is, okay, if you're gonna throw out the first pitch, there needs to be some reason. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sure, yeah, I'll throw out the first pitch. Why not? We're getting soon, I think. First pitch, so that's probably understandable odds. Right. Well, Frank is a massive internet star. Parker, I want pictures of Spider-Man. Down. 1 for 3 tonight. I don't know if I've seen this guy throw a fastball. I think everything he's been throwing has been off speed and sweepers. That was 2.
This is an absolute no-doubter.
Okay.
Parker Meadows, with that sound, just became a garage band by himself here in Seattle.
What happened to your face? Sadly, I was born with it. What a great swing by Parker there. This has been, up to this point, one of the better games of the season, or at least in a minute. Is the most recent Spider-Man rewatchable? I take it you're talking No Way Home. Yes, it's a rewatchable movie. I don't think it plays as well upon rewatch as some other Spider-Man movies do. Like nostalgia, whatever. I can put on Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 from 2002 and 2004 respectively and watch them anytime I want. I love those fucking movies. I enjoy the MCU version of Spider-Man, but I don't see myself putting them on consistently. Still did for a long time. I mean, it's gotten better. Favorite Parker, Peter. Parker. Okay, this guy has this guy thrown a fastball? Yeah, he's thrown a few, tons and tons and tons of off speed. He's thrown 90% off speed, dude. Interesting. They do look better. They're much better on the top. They still got on the bottom here. You got Astros in the division. Well, tonight ain't inspiring much confidence in the Mariners. I do. To me, and I think I said this in the video I made, I'm kind of at a point where I'm gonna pick the Astros to win that division until I see someone knock them off in the regular season. Ooh. So if this holds, Luis Castillo will be 0-4 in his career against Tigers. Did Dylan Cease get injured tonight? He only pitched 1 inning, or was there a rain delay? I think there was a rain delay, wasn't there? Yeah, that's lame. Tell you what, man, watch out for the Padres. Padres playing some pretty good ball. That's a good question. I think I would keep this one much more low-key. Not like because I'd be embarrassed by it or anything, but I just the way I stand right now is like on these streams, if you guys want to ask personal shit, if you want to talk about that shit, that's fine. There's not, in terms of posting about stuff like that, I'll slip up occasionally, but I'm really trying to make an effort to post less about sobriety and about mental health stuff. On here, I view it as different because, like, you're voluntarily choosing to watch these streams, which I appreciate. And they're a lot more open and kind of free flowing. But I think what I put on to the world on Twitter and on social media, I'm trying to keep more on the down low. I have a really hard time thinking that they can win the World Series or make it to the World Series with that pitching staff. Unless, I was going to say, unless Corbin Burns just turns into Madison Bumgarner, but even then, I don't think that bullpen's anything special. I guess there was a similar vibe last year at points with the Rangers, which is why I'm kind of hesitant to not to do a never say never. But the Rangers had two starters that figured it out come October. And they got production from Haney and they got production from John Gray at points. And while it wasn't a good bullpen, Spores, Chapman, and Leclerc all throughout the postseason pitched pretty good baseball on the back end of that pen. And Bochy managed it really well. I just don't think this is a deep bullpen. Kimbrel ain't going to be the guy. Kimbrel's a terrible postseason pitcher. Yeah, I think they have the makings of a wonderful regular season team. But, man, unless we see something happen like Grayson Rodriguez really comes into his own, it's hard for me to think that they're really going to make a deep run. That's the thing with when people talk about what the main reason why the Tigers didn't win a World Series with Dombrowski, people point to the bullpen, and that's true. But I've seen teams in recent history with bad bullpens that found a way to get it done in October. The 2019 Nationals had a terrible bullpen, won the World Series. Great pitch. All right, Foley. The last year's Rangers had a suspect bullpen. I'm under the belief all bullpens are relatively fragile. There were question marks about the Braves pen in 21 and between fucking Minter and Matzik and Will Smith. Those guys were amazing. The thing that is, it's one of the many things that makes postseason baseball really difficult to predict. That was a great ending by Foley, by the way, is the fact that rosters thin out by the time you get to October. You're not using your fifth starter. You're not using, you're not using your Joey Wentz garbage time reliever. You have more days off. You have more flexibility with your pen. You can use, you're not giving guys off days, on Sundays and shit like that. It's a much different environment. What's your actual dream job? People are going to roll their eyes at this, but it is still, I had it, and I lost it, and I deserved to lose it. But it's part of the arc, I needed the humbling, so to speak. I think about that a lot. It's a weird thing to think about, right? Because you would think that getting clean would be the thing that would lead somebody keeping their job. I don't know. I guess for the sake of my own sanity, I like to believe that at some point my downward spiral would have led to me doing something catastrophic that would have caused me to lose my job. I don't know what that would have been, but I also don't know when that would have been. But I think about it a lot. I think about it a lot. Yeah, who is going to close this thing out? Probably about 50. I think I was over 200 at one point. I'm about 155 now. Is it going to be holding? Okay. White Sox finally did it. Good for them. Hope not. Shelby. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, bro, they were warm and brisk. All right. Yeah, I mean, you could do that at Barstool too. But... I kind of feel good about this one. If they've done a good job of keeping the line moving tonight. I don't know, maybe it's the empath in me, or more so just the baseball fan in me. There's no fan base in baseball that I detest enough where I would wish the kind of season like what the White Sox are having. And we're talking about a division rival, but I think as a Tiger fan, we all have been so humbled. Like, we've gone through 100 lost seasons. We've gone through 114 lost season. I mean, there is nothing worse than the sludge of a terrible baseball season. And I mean, you go 3 weeks without winning. Almost a month. They're giving it a hell of a run. I was the manager of the Tigers. Could I get to 70 wins, drawing up the lineup card and making decisions? No, because I am a believer in culture and like having a good grip on the clubhouse, and I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, they're warm and Holton just in case. That's in there. Got a lot of strikeouts tonight, man. Check it. No. That's in there. Perfect pitch. Well, you see, to me, what's annoying about Bo is that he has above average stuff. He has plus stuff. He just rarely commands it. It's weird. It depends. I have on LinkedIn and Indeed, it gives me a little tracker of like when they've been received, when they've been viewed. I mean, if they get viewed and then nobody gets back to me, I just assume that fucking got thrown in the trash. Thrown in the trash. Sega Dreamcast. What's that? It's from South Park, right? Where Cartman's get. I gotta find that now. Ooh, that was outside. Sega Dreamcast. I don't know why my TikTok algorithm lately has been getting a lot of political debate clips, and the one that I keep seeing is the one between Jordan Peterson and that guy Destiny. I don't think Jordan Peterson's a real person. And so that clip where he's just like, I don't want the pharmaceutical companies getting in the way of things. I don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. Who talks like that? No, you have a girlfriend, but do I have? Oh yeah. I have. Yes. Nobody that is really like around. Like I have guy friends I could call up around here and be like, hey, dude, let's grab lunch or let's grab dinner or something. Most of the female friends I have aren't really in area, but yeah, no, I have people I text. I mean, not a ton, but I didn't for a long time. I mean, which is just unhealthy. Like, I just think in general, if you want to have more male friends, fine. If you want to have more female friends, fine. But I just don't think it's healthy at all to have solely one or the other. And it was well into my adulthood before I had like a legitimately like sustainable, like healthy, like friendship with somebody. Do I like Destiny? I outside of the clips I've seen, I would be willing to guess I probably agree with him on more issues than I disagree with him on. But I just know he's just like a super, super liberal guy. That's all. How many strikeouts we got as a team tonight? 14. 13. We've also struck out 14 times. Hey. No, they're not going to turn that. They'll get the run at second. Wow, good play by Javi, though. He barehanded that. All right, one more and let's get the fuck out of here. Good pitch, good changeup. Yeah, just let him take second. Defensive indifference. Kind of a weird thing. Why not just give him a stolen base? I swear to God, do not let and who's on deck? Do not let the tying run get to the fucking plate here. Good take. If this run scores, I'm going Holton. I can't put that on Bo. Bo made his pitch. Yeah, they're gonna go Holton now. I mean, that's how many home runs does Luke Raley have? Because there's no way. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Tyler Holton has 21 consecutive scoreless innings. He does. Yeah, he does have power. Man, I'll bring this up in my post game, but one thing this team needs to work on, I didn't think I would ever say this, is like their communication on fly balls and pop-ups is kind of shitty. That's Parker's ball. Yeah, there's no reason. It's center field who controls outfield. It's Parker's ball. Frisbee. That has to be a very helpless feeling, man. As you make your pitch. Holton will shut it down. Attaboy. All right. I will talk to you soon. Peace and happiness.